new Jet Set Radio game should be coming sooner than we think, but we also might be getting a little something extra. This is the 1 year anniversary of that crazy leak showing a new Jet Set Radio game alongside Persona 3 Reload, which turned out to be true. We don't have an exact period of when the Power Surge reboots are going to be released, but 2026 to 2027 is the rough estimate. However, not only will we be getting a reboot of Jet Set Radio, but potentially a remake of the original Jet Set Radio? Which, that's something I didn't expect to hear. So, when did this all start? It starts with a fellow Cube enjoyer, Jet Set Radio Facts, who made this tweet a little while ago. Remember, for now, this is a rumor until we eventually get official confirmation about everything. So, they state, the new Jet Set Radio is not a remake, but an open world reboot that merges Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future. The title of this game will be Jet Set Radio Blast, and will be releasing May 8th, 2025. Now, this doesn't sound too crazy. The only knowledge we have for the new Jet Set Radio game is that it's going to be open world. May 8th, 2025 is an interesting date because it seems like the new Jet Set Radio is going to be one of the last games we would get from the Power Surge lineup. We didn't get a whole lot of information after this post, but someone did ask the one and only GOAT, Midori, if it was correct information. Those who don't know Midori, she's been a very well-known insider for all things pertaining to Sega and Atlus. Her resume has been very credible with information on things like Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, Persona 5X, Sonic X Shadow Generations, Metaphor, and SMT5 Vengeance. All of these games became a reality with the information she's given us. Midori came onto this thread and she says, the new Jet Set Radio title is a reboot that merges elements of both titles. There are multiple worlds planned at launch. The release year is currently in 2026. Now, this is about what I expected a 2026 release, but then Midori states this in the next post. A remake of the original Jet Set Radio will also be released in 2026. This is the big one here I wasn't expecting. A remake of the original Jet Set Radio releasing around the same window of the reboot? This actually isn't the first time Midori has brought this up. She actually told us this information back in February. She also said that the reboot was initially going to be released in 2027, but the game has changed since development and now we might get it in 2026. Of course, we will just have to wait till Sega gives us an official announcement, so take this information as speculation till it gets confirmed. Now that we got that all addressed, there is one big question to answer. What could they do for a remake of the original Jet Set Radio? By the time we reach 2026, Jet Set Radio will be 26 years old. It's a game that has my respect and I still like it, but I can't see myself ever going back to the original Jet Set Radio unless it's for a special occasion. Future hasn't aged too greatly either, but the one thing Future will always have going over the original game in my opinion are the controls. There is a crowd who do like the controls of the original game, but the general opinion is that the controls are the worst aged part of the original Jet Set Radio. Now, you would think the easy solution is just make the controls be like Jet Set Radio Future, but it's a little more complicated than that. What makes Jet Set Radio unique is that the game is more momentum based. The horizontal distance of your jump, the amount of speed you start with when grinding, they all depend on your momentum. That's why there is a dedicated speed up button. I have no problem with the physics being more momentum based, but it has some issues. The air mobility is not good. Jumping while dashing is the equivalent of the classic Castlevania jump where you are very committed to that jump. Turning is very sluggish when dashing, especially if you have to turn backwards. Because Jet Set Radio's base speed is overall slow, if you want to get a decent speed throughout, you are forced to dash and jump every few seconds. You see it the most prevalent in races, and it's the best way to catch up to characters during Tagger's Tag. It's not a very fun way to move, and that's why I'm personally not a fan of the movement in the original Jet Set Radio. And now that I talk about it in full about Jet Set Radio's controls, I think a change is necessary to get better enjoyment out of the game. It may be upsetting for some people who enjoy those old clunky controls, but I think Jet Set Radio would benefit from those tighter controls present in games like Future and refined to perfection in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Increase the game speed, do away with the dash button, add things like trick grinding, air tricks, and quick turning, some tweaks to the air mobility and ground controls to be smoother, and that would make the original Jet Set Radio more fun in my honest opinion. Keep the game point based and keep the graffiti minigame the same. Those are like the core things about the original game that shouldn't be changed. There's a lot of cool things they could do for this remake, like making the garage an actual hub area like in Future. They can keep the structure the same, like when we're ready to go to the next mission, we got a dedicated map to go to so we can choose the missions. If there's a new character, we can just approach them at the window they're usually at. If we want to change the background music, we can go to the stereo. We can also be able to talk to the other GGs. This would be a great time to give full voice acting for all the characters this time and not just DJK and Combo. Also, Sega, I beg of you guys, please have some sort of streamer mode or make the soundtrack claim free, please. I want everyone to be able to enjoy these games and the music while streaming without dealing with this massive headache that plagues both Jet Set Radio games. So, those are my thoughts on the potential Jet Set Radio remake coming, and I'll keep my hype to a minimum until we get any sort of official confirmation about it from Sega themselves. If it does turn out to be true, then that would be amazing, and I hope that turns out well along with the reboot. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and comment your thoughts about it. And if you're interested in seeing more Jet Set Radio related content from me, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can get a notification for my next upload. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.